Hello and welcome to a brand new installment of Nintendo News Report for Friday, July 6th, 2018. I'm your host, Donald Terriel, and if you look at the people in the chat room, in the chat right now, on the video call, you can tell there probably wasn't a lot of news this week. But joining me
Doesn't seem like it.
Yes, but joining me to discuss what little we do have is one Justin Bruby. Hello, Justin. And nice
What's
to
up,
see
everybody? Donald.
Yeah, not much. Nice to see you didn't blow yourself up this week. Although I suppose I had the first opportunity and didn't really get a chance to do it either. Oh, boy, Justin, you there?
I'm here. I think.
Okay.
Hey, I think I cutting out a bit.
Yeah, just cut up for a moment there. But we do have a little bit
Hey,
of show and tell before we actually
okay.
get into the games of the week or the news of the week, such as it is here. I got my first limited run games order today.
Nice.
So yes, sticking up for the shiny physical future with the first games that Limited Run put up, Thimbleweed Park. I've seen that go down to like $10 on the eShop. So why did I spend $45 Canadian on it? I don't know. Just wanted to try it, and I think it took about 3 weeks for it to actually get over the border and get to me.
That's a little longer than I'd expect, but I'm happy that there's physical games still being made for these, so there's backups out there, and you won't have to rely on the eShop for everything.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely don't want to see the especially since these games come, like, if there's any sort of patches for them, then Limited Run will wait until all of that stuff is out before they even think about doing anything with as far as getting a release. So you're getting the definitive edition, or at least as close as you can get to that nowadays.
I like it. Maybe I'll pre-order Night Trap or something.
Yeah, Night Trap is up for order now, and if you're watching this live, I believe there's a couple of things I have that are going down tonight as of, I think, midnight Eastern. We'll check their site here, make sure that we've got what they're selling today. And at least with the Switch games, it's nice that they do the open pre-orders on them so that you have access to everything. Yeah. So right now they've got Kingdom New Lands and Oceanhorn. So if you're in the market for one of those, keep in mind the pre-orders for those stop at midnight Eastern time tonight. And then the only thing you can grab is Night Trap. But the limited edition was a limited run, truly, and it is sold out. Which actually came with a
I'm
fully.
okay with getting. Yeah, I'm okay just getting the regular on that, but
Yeah,
it'll be something funny to have.
and yes, TRBR, it is with between exchange rate and international shipping. It was what was a $25 or $30 game. What did come out to about 45 Canadian. So not a lot came out this week aside that doesn't involve anime, which we'll get to at the end of the show here. But one interesting comment that we did get came out actually from Mr. Kimishima in his last shareholder meeting before he shuffled off to retirement and left Furukawa here to hold the reins. In a question that was asked during the shareholders meeting, they were asked about the lineup because Nintendo stock took a bit of a knock after E3 because apparently Smash Brothers and Pokemon within 3 weeks of each other is not enough to keep shareholders happy. But Kimishima said that Nintendo will reveal more about its full 2018 lineup at the appropriate time, and this includes games that will launch during the holiday season. So what?
Yeah, so what games? I'll tell you. You're going to learn about 10 new NES games coming to the online service.
If one of those is Urban Champion, I'm afraid we're going to have some words after the show.
I'm going to be happy if one of them is online Urban Champion. If that's happening, there's got to be a Nintendo World Report staff tournament or something.
I'll quit.
But other than that, I think there could be some other smaller things. Who knows? Like with Nintendo, they seem to be much closer to release than they have in the past with past systems. So it wouldn't surprise me for like an August or September direct with one or two maybe smaller games, even if they're only eShop games or something. That
eShop
they're
games, or maybe up reses or ports from Wii U or Wii, maybe, because we know
yeah,
they're
anything.
going, yeah, because after because we have the big two next week, Captain Toad and Octopath. Then there's Go Vacation on the 27th, and then after that, they don't. The next thing they have is a Xenoblade 2 standalone DLC release, which that's a lot of game, but I don't know how well that's going to sell to people that don't have the background of Xenoblade to begin with.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's kind of a weird release that they're doing with that. Uh, but as you were saying, with all the Wii U ports, I think by the time the Switch is over or they move on to Switch 2, which hopefully is backward compatible, just about every major release will be available. Which, and there might be a few things that they don't move over. And I'm thinking one of them might be Star Fox Zero that doesn't get moved over just because of that up kind of
That yeah, that's so
required that gamepad in many ways. So
yeah. Yeah, it's so tied. It's so tied to the gamepad that seems like something they probably will not touch. And sadly, I think one of the two RPGs that the Wii U got from Nintendo is probably not coming either. But we'll see how that goes. Uh, Cherry Goblin's pointing out maybe we'll finally get a Luigi's Mansion remake release date. Yeah, but that's for 3DS, which I think the question was more about the Switch lineup, which admittedly, like we said, Smash and Pokemon, that's a pretty heavy combo to go with at the end of the year, but what do you do in the meantime? Unless Super Mario Party blows the doors off.
well, I think Super Mario Party is a good game. That I mean, I think it's new, but it's gonna have to come out before all this other stuff does. But that's a game that's around Black Friday.
Yeah, and it is coming out before everything because it's October
Yeah,
7th, I think, for that one. But
yeah. So it's gonna do. Many people write Mario Party off, but they always do somewhat all right. So
yeah, and this
especially
one,
like with the younger market.
yeah, with the kids, and hey, this one has online play and some pretty funky things you can do with multiple switches. So there does seem to be maybe a bit more interest in this one than what you would see with a normal Mario Party. Yeah, and Justin, just so you know, your audio is cutting out a little bit here, but hopefully that'll come through.
Want me to leave and come back and see if that?
Yeah, so I'll hang.
I'll be right back then.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody.
All right. So while Justin's doing that, yes, Cherry Goblin as well. WarioWare Gold hype, definitely. I wish that demo would come out in North America because I'd really like to see some of the cutscenes that came out in the European version. But yeah, we're not going to be seeing that for a while.
And I'm back.
And you sounded better.
All right, good.
All right.
I've never had that issue before.
Yeah. Travis, Mario Maker 2 in October, free to play, but comes with the online. I would think if they're going to do that, they would probably want to introduce that with the online service because that does seem like a pretty good hook for that. And if you don't have to pay for the cartridge or whatever, but I, I don't know. I think they may want a little bit more hype on Mario Party unless it is literally just the Wii U port that starts with the levels. And
You talking about Mario Maker? Or,
yeah, Mario Maker 2, sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah, Mario Maker isn't happening this year. If you are holding off for that, just forget it. We would have heard about that at E3 for sure because that would be a huge game up there with Pokemon and Smash, in my opinion.
Yeah, that if they had Pokemon, Smash, and Mario Maker at the same show, oh wait, 2014, and that was a damn good E3 as far as I recall. So it wouldn't be surprising to see, but they'll probably trot that around next year. I think maybe one of those ports they could probably knock out pretty quickly. I could see them doing just porting New Super Mario U and Luigi U to Switch, but honestly, I just want them to do New Super Mario All Stars.
Yeah, that'd be great. But the only problem with that is the games look so similar. People will be like, "I'm playing the same game over and over again," and I
You
think
play,
that's a detriment series, in my opinion, is that they all look the same. And you look back at the older Mario games, and they all have a visual distinction. They all have some slight gameplay make them stand out, but not with the new series.
yeah. Or they could redeem New Super Mario 2 by putting a Wario in there where he belongs.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
that'd be fun if they re-release those games and added Wario and Waluigi, differently.
yeah. And hey, 3DS is still getting stuff because I don't know if you heard while you were refreshing there, but the WarioWare Gold demo came out in Europe this week. I really want that to see what they do with that because apparently there's a lot of interaction in there.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that. I like the WarioWare series, so I am looking forward to giving that a shot when it comes. I touched my.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we said this. I think that I know I've seen this elsewhere, but Lavinate has it right in the chat room. We need a new Super Mario Brothers, but not a new Super Mario Brothers.
I completely agree. I don't know what style they'd go for. There's a lot of ways they could take it, but it's just the current style is kind of boring. Maybe we need a new Super Mario World. How about that? Would that be
Hmm.
something everybody's interested in?
Yeah, I mean they did a lot with Yoshi and especially in the later games, but yeah, like a whole dinosaur world style area with that maybe go without Bowser for a game.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you can get away with that in a Super Mario Brothers game, but
Well, well, at some point we really need to consider that maybe Nintendo needs to take a year off from Mario because they've put a Mario game out in a game with Mario in the title out every year since what 1987. I'm saying he might be a little bit overexposed at this point.
well, it keeps selling, Donald.
Yeah, I know.
Mario is money.
Mario's money. Although, if what we've heard about Mario Tennis is any indication, the competitive aspect of that game could use some help because apparently Bowser Jr. are a bit broken.
Yeah, I haven't
I
dived into that game, but is he really that bad?
it's a combination of the fact that he's one of the he's like what a defensive player with really stupid amounts of reach, and he builds meter incredibly quickly. So
They'll probably give him a nerf or something.
yeah, they need to do that ASAP though, because like you don't want to go to a major like a somewhat major tournament for this and have somebody saying y'all are wasting your time playing this game because Bowser Jr. is that busted.
Well, I can't imagine this game being played in tournaments very seriously.
I don't know. It's getting a lot of the same kind of rub that the fight because it is feels a lot like a fighting game. So that community is getting into it pretty heavily.
Uh, I'm gonna hold my take off. I mean, it'll be like maybe a small thing, but I just can't see that game taking off as a major. From the little bit I've seen, it just seems like points can go on for an extremely long period of time.
Yeah.
So I can't see people getting through matches fast enough to make this tournament viable.
Well, I mean, because the point, like, you can do like what is it, 6 points to a game, which that it seems like it would like just do a one set game, and that and you could probably work through that in about 5 to 10 minutes. Because I think that's how they were playing it on Treehouse Live. But now that I recall, there
Okay.
were some pretty long points on that, pretty long rallies on that one too.
Yeah, some of the rally. I'm talking about the rallies in general. It's just the new special techniques to just keep returning things, and it just seemed like it was never going to end.
Yeah. All right. So aside from that, we're getting a new release from Namco that might be relevant to some interests here, mostly for our Quebec listeners. You're going to be putting the Namco Museum and Pac-Man Championship Edition 2, the Switch version of that, on a retail cart later this year. Didn't really give a release date, but that sounds like something that, because I didn't want to get Namco Museum because it is also $30 Canadian, and Pac-Man C is 20, so I can probably get it with a Prime discount, and honestly, that would be cheaper.
Getting this. Got to get some Pac-Man versus going, right?
Yeah. Pac-Man versus, or just Pac-Man CE2.
No, it's a package I was looking to get, but I just never got around to buying it, and I'm glad I didn't, because once again, these eShop games keep releasing physically. So, as I've said on other episodes of this show, I'm really afraid to buy eShop games at this point because I prefer physical copies, and it seems like all the best stuff is physically. So, even though I have to wait a little bit longer, it might be worth it in my case.
Yeah, that, and you don't have to drop whatever it costs to get a giant micro SD card to store all of them, because I had to do a purge and I'm still running low. Like I'm running low on space, even though my system memory might still be available for it.
Yeah.
Those 2 terabyte cards they were talking about can't come soon enough for me anyway. Yeah, and
It will be expensive when they do.
Yeah, but that means like the 400s and the 200s will come down in price a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So regarding Mario Tennis Aces, Travis is saying the online plays crap, peer to peer, and it drops the frames to account for lag, but then doesn't go back and then doesn't increase the frame rate when the lag goes away. So I don't know. I might have a little bit more opportunity to get local play in for that for Mario Tennis, so I am still looking into it. But because I missed a month, I'd have to go back and do a lot of catch up, and there's a lot of eShop stuff that I still want to catch up on as well. All right. So, any chat room, anything else that we might have missed that we need to bring up here? Because yeah, aside from the stuff that Justin doesn't really care about, there is not a lot this week.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not into the animes. I mean, I've watched DBZ, and that's and some Pokemon back in the 90s, and that's about it.
Yeah.
They come up with stuff. I just want to ask anybody listening to this if they manage to take advantage of that less than 24-hour accidental price drop at Walmart on the Switch Splatoon themed Joy-Con, where the pair costs $24.88. That was in the United States. So I managed to run there as that deal became more public, and I bought 3 packs of Joy-Con. So I think that was like $240 worth of equipment for about $80.
Man, if I ever need Joy-Cons, I'm gonna give you a call.
Whoa. Everybody's asking for my Joy-Con at this point, and I'm not kidding. Like, people are like, oh, you're going to hook me up? I'm like, no, man, I need these spare parts.
Phrasing. Lavany would have definitely bought them if he could, but I think he's got the same problem I have, which is he's not in the United States.
Man, it was one heck of a deal that we'll probably never see again.
Yeah. And things like, and I still need to get around to making that phone call to Nintendo to find out why the hell the Switch web store, like the online store for buying eShop games, doesn't list all the Switch sales. Like, it misses about a third of them at any one time. Cherry Goblin, thoughts on a 3DS successor? I would say if we don't see even like hints of it by the end of next year, then we are in a one console future situation because I can't see them keeping the 3DS going past the end of next year.
We said that for multiple years now, but
Well, we know that we know that they've got support at least through 2019 for it planned because they've said as much. And we although they've got one, two, three games left announced for it this year, and then the Bowser's Inside Story remake next year. Oh,
and we don't know
actually,
where Mighty Number Nine is going to fall in on that yet.
that would be falling probably into the trash can where that game belongs.
It could happen. They promised it.
Eh, They've promised a lot of things with the Mighty Number Nine Kickstarter and its various successors. I'm looking at you, Red Ash. They have not delivered on a lot of it, so I think the 3DS and the Vita versions are probably included in that category.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen with the 3DS successor. I think there's one probably planned. I don't know how deep into development it is, and I'm not sure if it would be a system that is looking to be significantly more powerful than the current 3DS. I would think it would be more powerful, but I wouldn't think it would be at the Switch level of power. I think if they do come out with another 3DS the way it is now, keeping like a similar form factor, it would still be considered the budget system when as
Yeah.
compared to the Switch, unless they can figure out a way to drastically reduce the cost
The
on
cost
the
of the Switch,
Switch.
I mean,
Yeah.
short of like bolting the Joy Cons to the system so you can't remove them.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know how that much that would really drop the cost though, because you'd still have to have the rumble, and there still would have to be some motion controls like in the Pro controller. So I don't know how much money bolting them on would actually save, or making it smaller might actually increase the cost when you think about it, because then you got to make all the components smaller.
Yeah, you'd have to have. Although, I mean, how common are 6-inch screen, 6-7-inch screens at this point?
Would these
Because
games even look good on that?
yeah, Xenoblade's already cramped enough in handheld mode. Imagine it on on a 4.5 or 5-inch screen.
No, I can't, which is why I really don't know if they're going to be doing that. I mean, they might make a. I think they could still sell the Switch for maybe $100 less without the dock in like a year and a half.
Yeah, because we've seen like because Nintendo never really the last time we've been in a position where Nintendo would need to or would be able to drop the price on a system was the Wii, and they waited what 3 years roughly to do that
Yeah,
between '06 and it got its first price drop in '09.
I mean, there's a
So
lot of factors that are being put to work here, and I think one of the telling factors around all of it is going to be the release of the mainline Pokemon games next year. Because if there is a 3DS successor, they could just launch these new Pokemon games on it theoretically as well as on Switch. Like maybe there's like a less graphically intense version. I just feel like 300 they can't have a $300 system to go with a new mainline Pokemon game, because it's just too much for each player slash kid. And many, let's be honest, a lot of kids play Pokemon. Do you think their parents are going to buy each of them a Switch so they can play? I don't think so. Not at $300. Now, that's what Nintendo would like to happen, but it's not going to happen at that price point. So I think that's why I keep saying there's a good chance you will see some cheaper version of Switch, whether it's just without the dock or whatever, available closer to the release of the mainline Pokemon games.
Mhm.
But if there is a 3DS successor, I can't imagine Pokemon not being part of that also. So we're going to have to wait, I think, about a year and a half to see what's going to happen
yeah,
in regards to all of this.
Yeah,
because it can go in so many ways at this point. It's hard to wrap my head around.
yeah. Dave came in with an interesting proposal in the chat room. Do a Switch Pro, and then maybe and then using the same like a Tegra chipset, do a 3DS successor that does basically it's a Switch that doesn't clock beyond portable mode. So there's no reason to. So you could dock it for charge. Maybe you could dock it for charging purposes, but you don't really need to. And Cherry Goblin says that Train Odyssey 6 will be a launch title. Yeah, because there's a few games I could think of that would probably go away completely without the dual screens, though Pokemon is not in that category because they put so much time and effort last with Sun and Moon in that era to make it a one screen game again.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. It's really a toss up. Place your bets. Good luck.
Yeah. All right. So with that here, I'll run down the announcements of Anime Expo. See if we'll see if any of these things appeal to Justin. So Nisa came out swinging first. They basically have one game per month from it seems like from now maybe until March of next year. They're going to be doing RPG Maker on the Switch, which cool. I didn't get into the 3DS one because well it just came out at a really bad time for me. But I'm still intrigued by it, and mainly I'm just here for the successor to the Player One podcast RPG. Let's see, and then two RPGs from Nisa, the Caligula Effect Overdose, which is a remastered version, which is supposed to be way better than the original version of that game that came out on Vita. And the Princess Guy, which is a action RPG with strategy elements, or a strategy RPG with action elements. It was really hard to tell from the trailer, but that'll be out. Those all three will be out early next year, and the SNK collection to be out November 13th. So there's your big RPG for that week. With Crystal is coming.
Well, the SNK collection might be something I pick up.
Yeah, that seems to have that's going to have a lot more games I think that are down your alley than the rest of that lineup.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest SNK fan, but with these collections coming out, it's really hard to say no a lot of the times.
Yeah, especially since they're replacing Virtual Console now.
Yeah, exactly.
Skullgirls is going to come to Switch physically and digitally, by the way. They announced that later, but yeah, so that's a pretty hardcore fighting game. Be interesting to see how it handles, and if it's one of those games that will use the Switch Online, or if they'll just roll their own, because they seem to be way into that. This is probably more down my alley. The new game from Gitaru Uchikoshi, who you might know is the guy who did the Zero Escape trilogy. Apparently, we have to go deeper. We're invading dreams in the Somnium Files. That's got no release date, by the way. And Axis just announced a bunch of things, including they're doing a. Let me just make sure I got the names right here, because I still have to write this news story actually after we're done here. But they've announced three more games coming to Switch, plus the Little Dragons Cafe is going to be out in August. A side-scrolling adventure game called Ghost Parade in 2019. The shooter Stardust Galaxy Warriors Stellar Climax. That is so Japanese name. And also a game called Deathmark. All coming to Switch from Axis sometime in the next 12 months or so. Presumably because we don't have release windows for Deathmark specifically. Justin, anything in there besides the SNK collection, or are we wasting our time here?
I mean, maybe RPG Maker. I'm not the biggest RPG fan, but the fact that you can make your own RPGs is kind of cool. But SNK and that, maybe. That's about it for me personally that I'd be interested in.
Yeah. Yeah, this was pretty good week for me as far as announcements, and seeing those third parties really fill up the lineup does help. Although Spike Chunsoft, Port Danganronpa to Switch, you cowards. And and the chat room is interested in the new project from Uchikoshi. So we'll see how that goes. That's got, again, no release window, but based on previous announcements we've seen at the show, that you're usually out within the next year. So with that, I think we'll wrap it up for the evening here. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming out and helping us get to a half hour, because I didn't even think we'd get that far.
Yep, it's a slow week.
Yeah. Next week will be a little bit busier though, because we've got Octopath coming out. Yes, Captain Toad is coming out on 2 platforms. Marina and Pearl amiibo, which they've actually revealed what that's going to do, which is free concerts and some Octo expansion stuff. And what else is coming out next week? maybe a direct. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I doubt it, but
yeah, that's because with the two release days this month, I think maybe something in that middle week, but we'll see. Anyway, plugging time. Of course, NintendoWorldReport.com has all sorts of reviews up this week, including a review for the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle DLC, which is pretty much a game onto itself. Also, Zach reviewed Runbow on Switch, it's Runbow on Switch. I'll definitely be picking that up next week. So I get paid, and we've also got podcasts out all over the place this week. Some look at other NISA RPGs, and Talk Nintendo guys interview the developer of Miles and Kilo, which just came out on the eShop this week. Patreon.com/NWR, support the site that supports us, including free access to the audio, rough as it might be. And personal plugs, you can find Justin on Twitter at King Nintendo Fan, and Instagram is King Nintendo Fanboy. Is that right?
Yep, you got it.
All right, and I am on Twitter at Donald Mick. That's Donald and Mick. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Good night.